Добрый день. Мы пытаемся продолжить нашу взятую недавно такую традицию общения с музыкантами вот в таком формате. И сегодня у нас в гостях замечательный исполнитель. В наше время очень редкий случай, когда человек приезжает из-за рубежа. Это Аапо Хаккинен, разносторонний музыкант, играющий на всех клавишных инструментах, дирижирующий. И он проводит в концерт с Musica viva здесь, в Москве. Я хочу сказать, что мы знакомы достаточно давно и играли вместе несколько раз, и вот буквально несколько месяцев назад вышел наш диск с произведениями Шуберта, который, кстати, у нас, по-моему, на канале даже это было, проходила информация. И вот по любезному, так сказать, с любезного согласия Аапо, я сейчас, так сказать, задам несколько вопросов. Aapо, welcome to Moscow. First of all, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
I would like to, because it's now in our time, it is I think not possible to avoid this subject of virus. So unfortunately, that's why strangely. But first, I would like to ask you, how do you think that the whole situation with this virus will affect the music life in the world, in Finland, maybe in Europe? And what do you think? What may change after this period?
Yeah, it's a good question. We don't really. I don't think we really have the answers. Unfortunately, time will tell. But it's been a long time in most of Europe without public concerts. And that's why I'm really glad to be here in Moscow, where public concerts are possible, unlike most, really 80% of the European countries. I really hope it will be possible again, very, very soon. And I'm sure most of the public will have missed it. Of course, what has changed, at least to some extent, is we have a lot of streamed concerts on online events. YouTube is full of classical music than ever, which is a good thing in itself. But yeah, we are used to playing for video cameras and microphones even more than before, and so this is one thing, and I believe some of it will remain. I think the online part of musical life will stay strong.
But do you think that you can really compare the impression of going to the concert or watching the stream? And
no.
If not, so what is the difference, and what do you personally prefer, and what is your idea about it?
I think streaming with no audience is something totally different. It's the act of making music comes from the communication, from the interaction of the performers and the audience. And if the audience is not there, if we, so to speak, play in a studio, it's something else. And this is something that I think cannot substitute for the real experience of concert. And I think streaming online the concerts are nice, but only when it's video of a real concert. And I mean concert with the real audience and with the live music making for the audience. That, if it's not there, you can absolutely sense it, even from a video, even from it's yeah, difficult to say. I think it's changing all the time. Of course, the last 100 years, the recordings have already changed.
Yes, that's what I wanted to ask you. What about recordings? It's also not interaction between a listener and the player.
No, and maybe we will have the next step somehow in this. Perhaps the recordings have already got less important in a way, because even now when we see what is on offer online for classical music, there's a lot of concerts, a lot of live events. People are actually following. If we go back 20 or 30 years, people were listening to a lot to studio recordings. But now we actually listen more to live performances, even if it's from the internet. So and this is not totally unhealthy development. So really difficult to say. I don't know. But this will certainly speed up some of these developments. Speed up the online presence. Maybe it will be the last blow to the traditional recording industry.
But we still hope that live music will survive.
Absolutely.
So it will not cut the possibility to go to the concert, to enjoy this very special atmosphere in being in the hall, right?
Yes, absolutely. I very much hope so. And in many countries, it's been a long time. People have not had the possibility to go to live concerts. I hope they will not be afraid to do so, because, for example, because of health concerns. I think we have to persuade the people. We have to convince them. Have to possibly find new ways to make it safe to be in concerts. I hope it will be possible very soon in the old normal way. But if not, we really have to find other ways to make it possible safely and I was playing some concerts in Germany last autumn and they had extremely strict health protocol. It was huge distances, like 2 or 3 meters between each person, and then there's sanitation everywhere, masks, all kinds of imaginable things. So for me, it's very difficult to see any risk in this kind of concert life. So this should at least be the first step to make it possible. Like, for example, even still now in Germany or in Finland, even this is not allowed. There is no public concerts going on at all at the moment. And this is a bit difficult to understand when the restaurants are now open again in Finland. When the bars with some restrictions, but anyway, the trains, in the airplanes, once it's next to each other.
And the concert looked like the most dangerous place to.
Yes, it's not. This is for sure not logical, and I believe it will change soon. But if it will go back to the old, what used to be normal, let's see. I very much hope so, and if not, we have to invent new ways to make it possible. Otherwise, this cannot go forever. I think it's not good for music. It's not for people.
Another thing I would like to ask you. Okay, this situation with this virus going on, but still you have Helsinki Baroque Orchestra, and you still have plans, and I'm sure you have projects, and you are thinking about your new projects. Could you tell briefly what you have done in last 1-2 years, and could you tell something about your project? What is possible to tell? What is not a secret, of course?
Yes, no. We've tried, with the Helsinki Baroque Orchestra, we've tried to keep the activity as constant as possible. We, of course, many programs have had to change. Just now in May, we were supposed to embark on a big international tour with Schumann's opera Genoveva, which is now postponed until 2 years. 2 years later, we will do some smaller programs instead. But for the next season, we are planning more or less as usual, hoping that the concerts, the guest performances will be possible again. Even if not for 100% full audience, then at least like here in Russia, in Moscow, for 50% capacity audience. I think this is the only way to plan, to plan ahead and not to wait for the 100% security, which will probably never come. I think that the COVID has been in a way a good reminder that nothing's ever 100% sure in life, even less in art. So and I think this is a healthy realization to make.
What else except the Schumann project?
We have for the in the next summer we will have quite many concerts with the Bach harpsichord concertos, which we have also the coming summer, both in Finland, in Portugal, in Czech Republic, also for the St. Petersburg Early Music Festival in September. So our repertoire is of course extends from the early, let's say around 1600 until the mid 19th century. So more or less from Monteverdi till Schumann. Next autumn we will have a Monteverdi Purcell program as well. So we do high Baroque, we do classical, which we have recorded also quite a lot. And we have newly started to explore the early romantic repertoire also on period instruments. And I think there is a lot to explore, not only about the instruments, of course, the instruments don't play finally, but a lot about the performing practice, about a lot of unquestioned questions, or at least unanswered questions. For Baroque music, there is kind of has evolved a certain kind of standard style or standard styles, but for the Romantic music, there are many questions to ask, and nobody really knows the answers. Like we have also explored Schubert and Schumann together about all kinds of phrasing, about tempo, about agogics, about the use of bow, the fingerings, or actually you name it. In every field of performing practice, it's a lot of possibilities to explore, and it was until 1850, until late 19th century, it was so much in progress. Everything, the music was in such a fast progress. The instruments were in a fast progress. The piano of 20 years ago was already ancient, and the same for the wind instruments, and same for the performances. That we had Schumann and Liszt composing simultaneously in Germany, even in same parts of Germany. Totally different kind of music. With the new Germans, or we had Mendelssohn, Schumann, and Wagner, who were all sitting in Leipzig and in Dresden. Together, they were the same age, but they were going so different directions. So I find it very, very fascinating.
So you explore all those names, what you know.
Yes. Well, we haven't gone to Wagner yet, but we are going to do some Liszt orchestral pieces now instead of Genoveva. In fact, now in May, and even including one Sibelius symphonic poem. This will be the spring song, Vår song in the early version. It's not one of the most famous ones, but it's one where Sibelius was clearly influenced by the Liszt symphonic poems.
It's an early
It's
one.
an early one from 1890s, beginning of 1890s. So it's something. It will offer a new perspective to everything that we've done and what the other orchestras are doing. So I believe it will be an interesting adventure.
Yeah, I hope very much that all this strange period where we live now will go away, and we all can live normal musical life. And I wish you all possible success with your programming, with your playing and conducting and recording. And really thank you very much that you came. It's very nice that we met. We haven't had a long time, and I hope that it will be the kind of beginning of some new interesting ideas, because we all have some ideas, and it's nice where the 2, 3 people, 4 people who thinks more or less the same way coming together and playing something and enjoying making music together. Thank you so much, Aappo, and have a good
Thank you,
concert.
and I'm really glad to be here in Moscow. Thank you so much. Looking forward.